Hey, what's up, everyone? It's me only on PlayStation VR 2. So, Sony's PlayStation VR 2 reviews embargo has been lifted, and there's a bunch of reviews out there. And for the most part, they're all positive reviews, and that's a good thing. That's a great thing. And I agree with the most of the reviews, what they're saying, but I'm gonna explain to you why, to me, that's a grain of salt, if you will. But first, let's watch the video and let's look at the positives and what those positives are, and then I'll give you my opinion and take on it. Remember, this is my opinion. I'm entitled to my opinion. You don't have to like it, but my opinion shouldn't affect your decision making, whether you want to purchase this or don't purchase this. But you're gonna have to hear my opinion, because that's why you're here. I'm not here to be a cheerleader, number one. Number two, I'm here to analyze and give my opinion based on what this individual is saying on the CNET. And I will give you just that, my opinion. So let's first start with a benefit of the PlayStation VR 2, which is right over here. So let's see what he has to say about the benefits of the PlayStation VR 2.
But wait, there's a lot of benefits that this headset has to offer you. Yes, it's $550, which is the cost of a PlayStation 5 on its own, but this headset is probably the best quality VR experience at the moment that I've had. Seriously. And this is why. First of all, the PlayStation VR 2 headset has a really nice display. It's OLED, it's HDR, it's got a high resolution that feels super crisp, and it makes a lot of the gaming graphics look really vivid. Everyone we've showed into the office has been really impressed. It has great black levels, it feels more vibrant as a result, and because it's tethered to a PlayStation 5, the graphics on this are a lot better than you're going to get on a standalone headset. This thing can pump out gaming graphics that, when optimized, look really fantastic. There aren't that many games right now that are super optimized, and that's something I'll get into in a moment. But PlayStation has one, Horizon Call of the Mountain, and that game, if you get up close and look at the details in that game, it feels like you're playing a PlayStation 5 game, but in VR. It doesn't feel like there's any gap in graphics anymore. That's really cool.
All right, so I agree with this, and I've been saying this since day one. If you guys do your research on my channel, if you skip the negative head strap that I complain about, and if you focus on the positives that I talked about, this is exactly what I've been saying, and you guys just don't want to address that. You just want to stick to the plastic build of the head strap. You just want to focus on that, but you don't want to focus on the positives that I've been saying. Now, this I agree with. Yes, this is great. Technology that's built inside the PlayStation VR 2 is the reason why I pre-ordered the PlayStation VR 2. This was the main reason. This is something that I have addressed back in January, and I still have that video where I addressed this, where I said that PlayStation VR 2, it's a big deal, and here's why. And I made that video, and it was released in January. And that's one of the reasons why I pre-ordered PlayStation VR 2, because of this technology that's built inside. Technology that he just mentioned, 110 field of view, which makes it look like an IMAX field of view screen, where you're going to be inside a game. 4K resolution, high dynamic range, OLED screen, haptic feedback, adaptive triggers, 4 tracking cameras, eye tracking cameras, all of that stuff. It's great technology. And of course, being tethered to a powerful PlayStation 5 console also helps pump out all that power. And that's fine and dandy. However, calm down. Everybody calm down. You heard me just give a positive feedback. You heard me just give a credit, unless you guys have swabs in their ears and you didn't hear me. That's all fine and dandy. That's great. But it's pointless if you don't have big amount of first-party PlayStation VR 2 games to support that. And currently, there's only one game that's a first-party that supports that. And it's just one. And it's 6 to 7 hour experience, and it costs $60. It's more like a technical demo from what I heard, okay, from others. But is it enough? See, that's the question here. Is it enough of convincing for people to jump on and just flat out pay $600? It's technically $588, depending where you live in with taxes. I don't know. If you're in Canada, it's even much higher. So, but that's my question. Again, listen carefully to what I'm saying. I don't think I have any broken English for you guys not to understand. Technology that's built inside, it's hooray, great. I've been saying this since day one. It's one of the reasons why I pre-order it. However, one game, it's not enough. Okay? Horizon Call of the Mountain 6-hour experience to 7-hour experience, it's not enough. It's not enough. It's a technical demo. It's not enough to get people to jump on board. Gran Turismo 7, fine, you know, but it's a special interest. Gran Turismo, it's a special interest. Not everybody likes driving cars in VR. Not everybody's a racing fan, okay? What I'm trying to say, Sony's going to have to really stop being cheap and use the money to build the first-party PlayStation VR 2 games. Like really good, like first-party PlayStation VR 2 games. I can give some examples. Spider-Man. Hey, we want to play Spider-Man 2 fully. Not just some tech demo. We want to play the entire story and have an open world of me delivering pizzas and swinging through the buildings with the webs, you know. Slinging those webs from one building to another building, delivering pizzas or saving people, saving the cat from a building, or saving some hottie from a building, saving them and, you know, swinging from one building to another. Spider-Man 2 would be one good example. God of War, playing as Kratos in a VR. Let's see what else. The Last of Us, playing as Joel in VR, or as Ellie maybe in VR, as a co-op. I can go down the list, you know, being a samurai in VR, Ghost of Tsushima, riding the horse, Ghost of Tsushima. Trying to get the Rockstar for the Grand Theft Auto, get the Grand Theft Auto 5 in VR. I mean, I can go down the list of great games. RoboCop in VR, Terminator in VR. I mean, Call of Duty in VR, right? But that's not the case here. What I'm trying to say, the reason, and hear me out, please. The reason why PlayStation VR 2 it's not selling so well, it's not because of technology. They love technology. Everybody agrees. It's $600. It's justifiable for the technology that's built inside compared to what's out there in the market. However, the lineup of video games currently right now, it's not that good. It's not that good. It's mediocre at best, and half of those games you can play on the Oculus Quest or PC. So anyway, so that's how I feel about what he said there. All right, let's go talk about the games available at lunch.
5 games. Speaking of games, the game library for the PlayStation VR 2 is actually pretty large at launch. It's like over 30 games, and it looks like more and more are being added. But that doesn't mean you can play any PlayStation 5 game in VR, obviously. Although, there are some games that are getting VR modes. Notably, Gran Turismo 7 and Resident Evil Village. I played Resident Evil Village, looked awesome. Haven't played Gran Turismo 7 yet, but I'm going to soon. Those are ones that you probably want to pick up. I'm hoping there are going to be even more. No Man's Sky is also one of those on the list. but you have to sort of check and seek for compatibility. The other thing that's a bummer is if you've had a PlayStation VR from the past, those older games are not automatically backwards compatible here. In fact, I tried launching them, they do not play, unless the company decides to port over a specific adaptation. There are some games already that offer free updates or paid updates to get those games. It's a shame, though, because there are a lot of great PlayStation VR games in the past, a lot of exclusives.
All right, so can I be honest about this guy? Clearly, this guy is a fanboy. And again, keep in mind, this is my opinion. I have a PlayStation VR 1. And I pre-ordered the PlayStation VR 2. Clearly, anybody who's watching this knows that I have PlayStation VR since day one, 2016, October. And I pre-ordered the PlayStation VR 2. As a matter of fact, they notified me this morning they're going to ship it to me sometime today. So I'm not a hater. I'm just somebody who is analyzing this and giving my opinions. These are my opinions, and if you don't like it, don't watch it. If you don't want to hear my opinion, go back to this guy and just, you know, I don't know what to tell you. Stroke one out and enjoy what he's saying. Stroke one out and enjoy what he's saying. But if you want to hear difference of opinion about what I think, then you can listen to what I have to say. So clearly this guy, it's a fan. Let's not call him a fanboy. Let's just call him a fan. He's a fan of the device. Is something wrong with that? Absolutely not. There's nothing wrong with you being a fan of a certain device. That's fine. I have no issue with that. But the issue comes in, then you become biased and you just looking at it one way. You know, he just admitted that there's 30 games on launch, but those 30 games are majority of them are third party. And they're third party games that you can play on your Oculus Quest, on your PC, on other devices, right? For a cheaper price. And there's maybe three out of those 30, like Gran Turismo 7, Resident Evil Village, and The Call of the Mountain. Maybe there's 3 out of those 30 that you could say, all right, no, there's 3 games. But those 3 games, like I said, Call of the Mountain, Resident Evil Village, and Gran Turismo 7, it's not enough to reach a global sale. It might be great for you who love Gran Turismo, and for a guy like me who loves Gran Turismo, but let's look at it from a global perspective. Don't look at it from a fanboy, selfish perspective. Do you guys catch what I'm trying to tell you? Don't look at it from a selfish fanboy perspective. Look at it from a global perspective. Do you know how hard it was for me to convince my brother to buy a PlayStation VR? And he still didn't buy it. He wanted to buy it, but he changed his mind. He says, nah, it's too many wires, not for me. I don't know. I want to wear this hideous thing on my head. No, thank you. If I want to use it, I'll come to your house and I'll try it. Whatever. You know how hard it was for me to convince people to try Farpoint, to try, Gran Turismo Sport. They tried it. They're like, okay, it's cool, but I don't know, man. I'm getting sweaty. I'm getting a headache. It's too much on my head. It's uncomfortable. I don't know. So how are you going to convince majority of people out there to spend $600 and then buy a PlayStation 5, to spend $1,100 on this recession, inflation, unstable economic crisis, and all this craziness going on in the world? We might be in a World War III for all I care. I don't know. Things are looking pretty bad. How are you going to convince people to lay out $600? That's tough, dude. That's tough to do. And you sure as hell not going to do it if you don't have a pretty good lineup of some hardcore first-party games. When PlayStation 1 was released in 1990, what was it? $697. They had a pretty good lineup of games. Pretty darn good first-party lineup of games. Not to mention all the third-party exclusives from Konami and Capcom. Sony was kicking ass. But you had a reason to purchase it. What I'm trying to say, guys, and I know my friend Cameron said this millions of times, exclusives matter. Exclusives, first party matters. You gotta have first party games. Without the first party games, I don't care about your technology. Look at Xbox, Project Scorpio, Xbox Series X, 12 teraflops. I don't give a dang. Even if you have millions of teraflops, trillions of teraflops, it doesn't matter how many CUDA cores. You could have infinite CUDA cores and trillions of teraflops. It doesn't matter how powerful your device is. It doesn't matter how cutting-edge technology your device is. If you don't have anything substantially great on it that will convince people to spend $588 plus, whatever add-ons you buy on and the games buy on, and plus you have to buy a PlayStation 5. That's hard to do, man. That's hard to convince. Try selling a car. Try be a salesman. See how hard it is to sell. It's not easy to convince somebody to buy something, especially in a very difficult economic times. This is what I'm trying to come across, but you guys are so blinded by your fanboyism, by your Sony fanboyism, that you can't see nothing past that shit, man. It is unbelievable. It's interesting to watch that. So anyway, that's how I feel about that. Now let's move on to the price. Let's look at the price.
Because that gets into price. Price on this headset, it's expensive. This is $550. Even though it includes the controllers, you're also going to need a PlayStation 5. That's a $1,000 plus bundle. That is a lot of money to spend on VR. Something like the Meta Quest 2, as much as you may not like Meta, or maybe you do, that headset is $400 and it's all inclusive and it's pretty great. That's what you're going up against. And it's hard to beat that because the Meta Quest 2 is fully standalone. It's super fun. Even if it is a few years old and the graphics don't compete, it still has a really immersive experience. This needs that tether. This is about a 15-foot cable, which is pretty good for most rooms, but I did feel this cable wearing down on my shoulder and I had to make sure I didn't get tangled in it, so it's there. And there are a few other things I'm not wild about with this headset. The audio needs little dangling earbuds. Now they are included, and they're fine. They offer 3D audio, and they attach over here, and you could put in your own. But the audio to me didn't sound quite as good as I expected it to, although if you want an audio boost.
All right, so I agree with him on this one. The price. I mean, let's be honest. This is not a standalone VR headset, okay? This is a VR headset that you're going to need a PlayStation 5 in order for you to use it. So it's already priced very high, as much as a console and higher than a console if you go with a Blu-ray edition, right? So let's say you buy a digital edition. You're still paying $1,000. 588 plus 440, you're still at like, I don't know, you're $1,000 plus change. You're still at $1,000 just to enjoy a PlayStation VR experience, just to enjoy a 6 hours to 7 hour mediocre, from what I heard, Call of the Mountain experience, which is very short, 6 hours to 7. I think people say you can finish it in 6 hours. That's pretty short, man. For a $60 game, that's like a technical demo or something. And then Gran Turismo 7, yes, it's a special interest. For me, yes, I'll have a great time. I'm going to enjoy the hell out of it. And I'm very happy that I will have the ability to do that, to enjoy Gran Turismo 7. So for me, that $600, maybe it's worth it because I get to play Gran Turismo 7 in VR. For me, yeah, it's worth it. But that's a special interest. Do you guys understand what special interest is? That's a special interest. That might be great for me, but it's not going to be enough for a global reach, to reach globally, to get everybody to jump on board. And that's what the guy is saying, you know. So he's not saying that it's not worth it, but he's saying, you know, don't know about the price. Nobody agrees with the price. Even this guy doesn't agree with the price. Dude, the only individuals that agree with the price are the fanboys who pre-ordered it. Which shouldn't shock anybody because they're fanboys. Fanboys will buy anything. Fanboys will buy a raccoon's ass with a PlayStation logo on it. They don't care. They're fanboys. And of course, fanboys wants to justify the price, no matter how high it is or how ridiculous it is, because they're fanboys. And that's what you have. Majority of these videos. If anybody has any difference of an opinion, they either want to cancel you or they want to give you trolling accounts of dislikes. I personally don't care about the dislikes. It does, it gives me a much higher viewing count. So the more dislikes I have, the more views I have, the more money I will make from you from hitting dislikes. So it's a win-win, guys. It's a win-win situation for me. Just keep that in mind. So the price is the problem. There's no question about that. This is a big issue. All right, so let's see what else. Let's see what he has to say at the end.
I'd buy this. Interesting question. I think it's a lot of money to spend. I think if you already have a PlayStation 5 and you have the money to spend on VR and you're thinking about spending what's going to be at least $600 or more if you're buying games and everything else, I think this is the most cinematic, vivid VR gaming experience that's out there. That's a really high price bar. I mean, even in PC VR gaming, you could find more affordable headsets and be able to connect them to a PC. The Quest 2 is $400. I'm not even going to include the Quest Pro because that's not really meant for everyday use. But this price is high, although the upcoming landscape of VR headsets are also going to have high prices. Everything that we've seen so far has been pushing into that $1,000 territory. Maybe this gets bundled in the future. Maybe it's more affordable. Also, do you like the idea of sitting at home tethered to a VR headset with a game console?
All right, so I agree with this guy. This was a great review on the CNET. I agree with this guy. You know, he gave it a rational, genuine, positive, and negative feedback. There's some positives, technology that's built inside. This guy, it's saying, listen, this guy, it's saying essentially the same thing that I've been preaching. Technology that's built inside of it. It's great. And there's no question about that. And I'm sure majority of you will be blown away by the technology that's built inside of it. But is that enough? If you don't have enough first-party games, you know, and the price is high. Remember, this is not a standalone device. This device, standalone for $600, you can do nothing with it. Honestly, it's useless. This thing without PS5, it's useless. You might as well throw it in a dumpster. So keep that in mind. The price, it's already high. You got to have a PlayStation 5. You got to spend $1,000 to enjoy this. Okay, let's just say it. Let's just end this video and let's just call it what it is. Let's just cut the bullshit. Let's just be honest here. You have to spend $1,000 to enjoy this. And that's the bottom line. You will have to spend $1,000 to enjoy this. So, the question now is it worth it to you? Well, I cannot answer that question. Is it worth it to you? That's what he's saying. Is this worth it to you? Do you want to be tethered to home And are there any games out there that are worth it to you? This much money? Are you willing to cash out this much money? Is there anything out there? I'm sure for the fanboys, sure. You know, Gran Turismo 7 and the Call of the Mountain and the Resident Evil Village, those three. Maybe Switchback, obviously, if it's that Switchback game that comes in March. But is that enough for the rest of us? Is that enough for everybody else? Again, put your Sony fanboy hats away and look at it from a major perspective. Don't look at it from your fanboyistic perspective. See what he did. He's looking at it from not from a fan objective, but from a different global objective. Is this enough right now for people to go out and spend money? Of course not. Sony is going to need to work on the first party games. And I'm going to end the video by saying this. If Sony wants this to be successful, they're going to have to pump out some first party games. Like badass first party games like Spider-Man 2, God of War, Uncharted, The Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, Days Gone, stuff like that. They're going to have to, even The Order 1886, they can even bring that. They're going to have to pump out some great exclusives. Maybe even get Call of Duty on board. Convince Activision to join Sony for Call of Duty only on PlayStation. Imagine that, if Call of Duty VR experience was only on PlayStation VR 2. So right now, Sony is going to have to prove to us in the next coming months, especially the next year, that it's worth it. Are they going to be successful? Are they going to reach that goal? Well, time will tell. Time will only tell. So there you have it, guys. This is how I feel. These are my opinions. Take it or leave it. It is what it is, guys. All right? I'm not going to sugarcoat this. I'm just going to call it the way I see it, as I always have been. All right, guys. This is only on PlayStation VR 2, and that's all I got for you guys. Thank you.